Hi everybody, I am finally back making new layouts in 2015, so I'm really excited. So this is a layout that was actually for the Hip Kit Club weekend challenge for, I think it's the last weekend of January. We're at January 27th, so it had to be posted like the 23rd or 24th. And it is a white on white challenge. And I don't usually scrap like that, so it was very difficult for me to do. And in addition, you had to, at the end, you had to cut it up to fit into a Project Life page protector. So those of you that watch my layouts, you know that I very rarely use cardstock. And if I do use cardstock as a base page, it is definitely not white. It is always colored. So using a white piece of cardstock was difficult on its own, but then having to do white on white, it's just not something I do. I love the look of it, but every time I've ever done it, it doesn't work for me. So you just saw me pull out random chipboard elements and letters and paint them white, and I actually put 4 coats on them. I only showed you the first bit because it's quite boring. And now I'm taking some light modeling paste and this Heidi Swap stencil that has the 3 different areas, the stars, the hearts, and the circles, and I'm just using the circles and putting them randomly all over the page. I only show you part of it because, again, boring, don't need to see it. Because my photo is of last year's winter storm in New England. We got hit by Nemo. We got about, I don't know, 23 inches of snow then. So you can see now I've done it over the whole page, and I couldn't leave it completely white. So I took a little bit of light blue gelato and some white gelato in addition to my water that was already tinged white from all the white paint, and realized that it's actually too white. But I wanted to put a little bit of blue right down the center there. I couldn't leave it white on white. But this, I mean, it's not extremely blue, but you can barely see it here. It's more blue in person than it is on the camera. I actually had to come back to this layout. I did the painting part, and then I got a call from work asking if I could come in for the day due to the impending snow for today. So I painted by letters, and then this is at night time when it's dark out, so the lighting is not all that great. So I just put straight down the middle of my piece of white cardstock is just this watercolor gelato area, and I really kind of like how that looks. And then I needed a little bit more color, so I found this very, very, very light studio calico from my stash, very old. It was some type of travel collection that they did that's like this very light blue geometric pattern. So I just mounted the entire thing on it. And now I am going to actually start my layout, I'm pretty sure. So the really nice thing about this layout was actually using up some of my chipboard that I've had for years and years. I have all my chipboard in, my free chipboard in this like toolbox kind of thing that has the little plastic drawers, and I don't ever touch it. So I pulled out the letters to spell out Storm Nemo because my photo is actually of, I was driving the day we dug out. I was driving in my neighborhood, and there was still snow all over the road. It was a mess, but I had to go to work. So I just snapped a picture while I was driving. But like I said, I never used the chipboard, so it was really kind of good to pull out a whole bunch of chipboard and get it used up. It's not nearly enough to say that I've actually can see a dent in my chipboard, but I know it was some. So you see me measuring there. Because this is going to be cut up into a project life size, I'm actually going to cut it up into 6 4x6 pieces, and I didn't want to have to cut through any of the actual letters. I do end up cutting through other pieces of chipboard, which I'm okay with, but I wanted to be able to read the title. And I'm just gluing down my title here. I found these really large chipboard letters that spell out Nemo, and I really like them. But they were all different colors. They were from the same kit, or the same set, but I don't know, they were funky colors, and they didn't go well together. It was a little weird. So they actually look really nice together as all white. And I ended up adding, while I was painting it, added on a little bit of high gloss into the white paint so that it really stands out from the paper. Once I get all these letters on, I'm going to start playing with my other pieces of chipboard here and figuring out exactly where I want to put them. But I knew where I wanted the title, so I go ahead and glue that down before I go ahead and play with anything else, because I had it all measured out and I knew that I wasn't going to cut through it. I also realized that I need something to back that photo in. The photo almost gets lost in the page. So I find this scrap that was just sitting on my desk of this very light blue cardstock. It's almost like a teal that matches the 12 by 12 background I put it on, as well as the little bit of gelato I put on. So you really can't tell a big difference there, but it makes the photo pop in real life. And then again, I'm measuring here because I want to cut up the photo as little as possible. I know that I'm going to have to put a line through my photo at some point, but I want to make sure that it's not in the focal point of the photograph. So I ended up gluing it down right here, and then my line is actually going to run right across the top. It's going to get just a sliver of the photo and the top area of the mat there. I ended up cutting up this, it was like this ornate frame, and I cut it in half, and I'm going to add half to the top and half to the bottom, and that's going to fill up that space that's next to the title there, because it was some empty space that I wasn't liking the look of. And I actually really like how this came out with the frame there. It really draws your eye over to the photo. Even though it's the white on white, it really, you can really see it because of the high gloss that I added to it, the high gloss medium. And it really stands out quite a bit. So now I've got my little pieces of chipboard, and I'm going to start playing with them, and it takes me a while to figure out exactly how I want to use it. And I don't use all the pieces. The ones that I didn't use, I just stuck on my desk, and maybe I'll use them at some point because they're easy to use since they're white now. And I loved how that heart looked right in that little empty space right next to Storm, because I really do love this picture. It was just so calm and so serene when I took it. I love being one of the first people on the road after a storm. And I was toying with this idea of trying to do like this diagonal pattern from the top left to the bottom right. And then I said, oh, I don't like it. So my goal was to try to use up all of those pieces, but it just didn't happen. And I realized that I wasn't going to use them all. So I used these little curly Q squiggle lines, and I'm going to put them over the title here, and then put the arrow, glue the arrow down pointing to the picture and the road, and to show exactly that it was quite crazy. And I didn't do any journaling on this because I felt like A, with the texture paste I added, I'm not going to be able to write well, and B, it's going to take away from the white on white, and that's the whole point of this layout. So I do have other pictures from that storm that I'll probably scrap and then put them right next to each other in the album with the journaling on it. And I do that frequently. I don't mind if a page doesn't have journaling, provided I have another page that has photos and journaling on it that will at least explain what the pictures were from. So I pulled out these cream colored brads. They are flocked snowflake brads from Freckled Fawn, and they are not white. They're like a creamy tan color, but I loved how they added just a little bit of interest without being too overpowering color-wise. If I was going white on white, I was going full out white on white. I didn't want to add other colors in. So this was just enough of a color, yet still a neutral for me, without making it overpowering. I had these two photo corners that were left over from the Chamel collection, the chipboard sheet that I just pulled from my Project Life little area my Raskog cart that I keep next to my desk. Now I only have one sticker left to use, and that always feels awesome. Hopefully I can get it used up soon and get rid of that package. So now I'm trying to figure out what else I want to do. I have these Teresa Collins, they're very iridescent white sequins, and they're pretty large, that I got on clearance at Joann's just like a week or two ago. So I pull out a whole bunch of them, and they're going to add just a little bit of interest as well to the page without A, bringing in another color, and B, being too overpowering. And once I get all these glued down, that's going to be it for my page. The only other thing I'm going to do, I do let it dry for a little bit so the sequins don't come off, and then I actually cut up the page into the 6 4x6 size pieces that will fit into a Project Life page protector. And I do show here it all cut up and it all put back together. So thank you guys so much for watching. I am going to post this on the Hip Kit Facebook group as well with the photograph. Take care, guys. Thank you so much. Bye.